My name is Terry Wolf. I'm with the Office of Executive Education. Ben, you just came on. I appreciate that. It's not a requirement, but if you're willing to come on camera, I think Jay would particularly appreciate it. Thank you, Shane. I'm the Executive Director within the Office of Executive Education for Open Enrollment and Corporate Custom Programs. So Open Enrollment are a class of courses that we offer for individuals to register in order to identify areas where they particularly would like to improve themselves within the general business space. Leadership is clearly one of those. So I'll just take a moment to introduce our speaker, Professor Jay Conger. Jay is an internationally recognized preeminent authority in the space of leadership and leadership development. He's published 15, maybe 16, I get lost in the count, but at least 15 books in the area of leadership and corporate governance. So he's widely recognized as an authority in this space. Olga, Tim Koo, and myself, we're all with the Office of Executive Education. We've all had the opportunity to sit in Jay's class. We've all had the opportunity to be awed by what he does and how he does it. So I'm thrilled to welcome you to this preview session for his upcoming class. And let me turn it over to you, Jay.
Thank you, Terry. Nice to see everyone. And the way we'll set this up is I'll do a brief overview of one, what the course is about, two, what the experience of being in the course is like, and three, why me? Why choose a course with Jay Conger? And then what I'd like to do is open it up to your questions, and anything, concerns you might have, and we'll go from there. So we're going to begin with a premise, which is really at the heart of this course, and that is that leadership is an ongoing journey. You never reach the final point, and that leaders actually are indeed made. And that ultimately what leadership, particularly in this masterclass, is about is becoming your best self, becoming your most aspirational self as an individual with influence. So it's your ability to build really wonderful, constructive relationships, learn how to leverage those to make things happen for both yourself, but for others. And for some of you, it may be also driving change initiatives, bringing more innovation in the culture of your organization, or literally launching new products or processes. Some of you might be entrepreneurs and you really would like to get some formal training in leadership. But we begin with the assumption each of us has leadership capacity. And the question is kind of how can we push that to its natural potential, the full length of potential? So the course is built around the way I think about leadership, and that is it's a 360-degree activity. So we have these old models where the leader is the boss, the pharaoh, the president. Those are very old. Shake that out, throw it out. Leadership is also about leading your peers very effectively. And it's about leading superiors. It's about leading clients. So it's your ability to be influential in all these different directions. Everyone who comes into the program tends to have a strength in one direction, but we tend not to have that same strength in the other two directions. And so part of what the course is doing is helping us understand, well, what are the directions where I need to make stronger investments? Do I need to be more influential with peers? Do I need to be more influential upstairs or with clients or maybe with a board? And so we look at leadership through that lens of these three different directions. The actual foundations from the course come from myself, which is really built around having taught, I'm going to guess probably 25, 30,000 managers and executives. In addition to coaching one-on-one several hundred managers and executives. And from that, I've learned really, well, what are the fundamentals of development? How do we develop ourselves as leaders? So in some ways, you can think of me like a sports coach who we're going to bring on the team. And we're going to really help you understand how you can be your absolute best self. I like to think of the program as what I call an eddy. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of whitewater canoeing and whitewater kayaking. And people who get on these kind of dangerous, fast-moving rivers use what are called eddies strategically. So if you think about rivers that you've seen that are moving with great speed, they have a few places where the water is still, and those are called eddies. What's actually happening is the river there is reversing course, and it's creating a calm space. And what we would do as kayakers is we pull into the eddy, we catch our breath, we look back to congratulate ourselves that we got through something that was quite hairy and scary. And then we strategically think about moving to the next set of challenges. This course is an eddy. It allows you to have 3 days of uninterrupted time to really reflect. And so it's so unusual. It's so special. And what makes it even more special is it's focused on you. It's not, deepening your accounting knowledge or your finance knowledge. It's really thinking about, well, who am I currently as a leader? Who do I aspire to be as a leader? And then how do I get to that aspirational goal? We have a 360 instrument that is used. So you're going to get anonymous feedback from colleagues, which you'll be able to use as a mirror, and it's purely for your use. It's accompanied by coaching, and there'll be coaching both from me in the course, but also coaching from a professional coach. And then after the course, you will have built up a network of colleagues who are in the program who are going to be quite valuable to you. And because you all have the shared experience, you will potentially be peer coaches for at least a year, if not, in some cases, years. You will each leave with a development plan. So when you go, you'll have at least 2 or 3 areas with milestones, with guidance in terms of, okay, what do I need to be doing coming out of this program to be a more effective and influential individual? So what's it like being in the class? Well, it is very fast-paced. I think the highest compliment you could pay to me is say, hey, Jay, I can't believe that was 3 days. I felt like it was 3 hours. It moved so fast and it was so engaging and so meaningful. It's very interactive. I'm not a traditional teacher who will lecture. You'll get lectures and you'll get some coaching from me, but you'll see that there's a lot of activities, a lot of diverse learning experiences, and everything. Literally everything in the course is focused on what you can take back. So it's extremely action-oriented and extremely applied. So, well, why is that? Well, it has to do with my background. So, like many of you who are on this call, I'm a former line leader. I ran international marketing for a very successful startup. And then in my academic career, I've run several institutes. So I have been in leadership roles, and I've learned how challenging it is to be an effective leader. And I have received plenty of feedback on how I could be more effective. And I've literally had to figure out, well, how do I apply that? In addition, my research is focused primarily on how do we develop these skills, but also how do we become more influential. And my most recent book, called The High Potentials Advantage, published by Harvard, Alan Church, my colleague and friend, we looked at literally thousands of individuals who over a career realized their potential as outstanding leaders. And we culled from that what it is they did differently. And that will be an essential foundation of the course. When people leave the course, we ask them, well, what are you taking away, or how was it? And the words are inspirational, highly engaging. Some people say, Jay, that was the most transformational course I've ever had. You helped me see who I could be. And so I think you'll find it a very powerful experience. I've designed the course so it's very applied, and we're really focusing on your issues. There's always research and theory behind what you're learning, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. If you're interested in that, I'll give you resources that you could read. But most of us are very, all right, help me, I need this. I think the other thing which we're highlighting is that to be truly effective as a leader, you have to build out further certain strengths. We may or may not have had supervisors or bosses who gave us a lot of clarity about that. And so the course will help you see that clearly, but it will also help you understand that one of the reasons why people do derail or plateau in careers is because sometimes a strength throws off a shadow. So let's say you're a pace setter leader, you love to make things happen, you build a sense of urgency. Well, the pace setter leader actually tends to over control. As long as you're in kind of pace setting, turnaround, crises, that style works pretty well. But once you move out of those situations and as you move up an organization, the controlling and urgency side starts to undermine your effectiveness. So we also look at what are the shadows of your strengths that you need to manage and be conscious of. And the other dimension we'll look at is most of us have a gap or weakness which hasn't harmed us, but there's usually a boss or a job or a project or a client up ahead that will reveal that weakness. And what we want to do is understand that so we can preempt it, so we don't ever find ourselves in that situation. And I'll tell you, half of the coaching clients who are brought to me are very talented people who have that weakness they've been carrying, or that shadow of a strength they've been carrying, and now they plateaued. And somebody fortunately says, I think you've got a lot more potential. Jay, would you work with this person to help them see where they need to do their investing developmentally? So we're going to, in the 3 days, we're going to help you understand that, so you're well prepared. Yeah, at a certain point, if you enter late, the 360 you'll receive after the program. But because we're using that as one of the kind of pools of insight, think about your development plan leaving the program. It's great to have that in hand when you arrive. And then I can also help you with that. And then Terry is well versed in that 360 as well.
Yeah, maybe just to underscore that, we've certainly run programs where people don't get their 360 results until afterwards, but the higher value is to get your 360 result as you join. And to do that, it really takes probably a good 3 weeks lead time, because as you're doing this 360, reaching out to people that you would like to be raters for you on your 360, it's an iterative process. It takes time. You identify them, you reach out to them, and they need to react, and you probably sometimes have to do some follow-up.
You can think about each day has roughly 2 to 3 leadership topics. And so in the 3 days, you cover roughly 8 to 9 leadership topics. And again, they're somewhat directional. So networking, if you think about it, is very important, leading upwards and then sideways.
Okay, yeah, and that was going to be the second part of my question, which was, I've signed up some people from my organization. There's going to be 3, possibly 4 attending, and save for one, if not almost all of them, aren't in real networking capacities in their role. They're very, very internal, such as one is a controller and doesn't have too much outside, but she does have a lot of internal customers. But I just want to know if you think that some of them may feel a little bit on the outs if they're not in that networking capacity with their positions.
No, it's designed so that if you're in a position like where you don't need to be extensive networker, we're not spending so much time that it would, they'd say, oh my gosh, why am I taking this course? Mm-hmm. No one topic kind of dominates. But I would say on the networking one, it's very interesting. I've had people in those kind of functional specialties who will come up and say to me, oh my gosh, I need to network more.
Yeah.
I realize why I'm not as influential in my role as controller. Deepen my relationship with a couple peers. So it can be, they'll kind of walk away and go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this topic's so important. So I've had that happen quite frequently.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I'm sure they can still have the walk away of a little bit more confidence, even, if they're more of a introvert naturally. So, okay, thank you. That I was just wanting to be have that clarity. Thank you.
You're welcome, Jennifer, and thank you for sending a couple members of your organization.
Absolutely.
That can be very helpful. Actually, we in the last program, I think we had 5 from one company. So and then most individuals were from their single person from their organization, but it can be very helpful if you want to get a collective perspective on leadership.
Yes, I mean, our company's small, but it's very widespread, and these people, most of them are from different divisions and don't really know each other. So it'd be kind of they can network with each other.
Oh yes, they'll have dinners together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Ryan, thank you. I see Ryan has to sign off.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we close up?
Could I just underscore, so networking is a topic, but it's also a process, and that you actually are facilitating network from the moment they walk in the room. You're facilitating networking from the moment they walk into the room all the way to the conclusion. And in addition, it's a topic of leadership.
Very true. Very true. Appreciate that.
Any other questions? If not, and when you sign off and you say, oh, I wish I had asked this, I'm available, Terry's available, Olga's available, Tim's available. We'd be happy to answer your questions. And I hope you'll join us. I hope you'll join me. I think you will find it a very powerful experience in the most positive sense. And I think you'll find it really helps you move in the direction of becoming your most influential and best self as a leader.